So you're probably wondering why my eyes are lacking life and I look exhausted, drained, dead. It's because I was in the kitchen, toiling, working hard to make a mac and cheese, and the first thing that came out of her mouth was like, ooh, it's so cheesy. It's very cheesy. It's so cheesy, which is a British way of saying you're shit, you can't cook, get the fat back in there. But this is plus 18, so TikTok won't get shut down. Swiftly moving on. Last time I talked about these beautiful, lightweight boys. Now, I compare them against the Pumas, right? And these are the Puma Nitro 3s. And I said these are a lot heavier, but in terms of stability, if you have issues with shin splints, these are great. And the good thing about this as well, compared to these beautiful kings, Puma is not quite a major mainstream brand when you compare it to the likes of Nike and Adidas, right? So the super shoes from Nike and Adidas cost a fortune, 200 quid, 300. It might slightly get more in the future. However, Puma, I got these for between 60 and 70 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. But when you compare the reviews of these bad boys compared to these beauts, right? They have a very high rating in terms of mileage. You can use them for 5K, 10K, half, or a marathon. They're not a super shoe, but stability, quite stable, quite neutral shoes. So you could look at them, right? And look at the back as well. Quite flat, quite strong. So therefore, they are a multi-terrain type of shoe, at least for my own analysis, for my very own analysis. But then when you compare these, right, the Puma Nitros, to the Adidas Zeros, can you see this difference? They look kind of similar in terms of flat, but then there's a slight gap in there. Now, if you're running over, let's say, for example, a half marathon or a marathon, and you're an experienced runner where you can't have a consistent form during your entire half marathon, right? You might be changing from front foot, mid foot, heel strike, and I suspect you might have problems then in that long distance, especially if the terrain that you're running in is not the same. Now, of course, if you're doing a road run, it's not going to be a major issue, right? You might assume it's not going to be a major issue, but different road surfaces, different fields, some roads, depending upon the route that you're taking, might not be as well maintained as the mainstream or the main road that are usually used 24/7. And I think at that point, that's where you then start to have issue number one in terms of how does it support your ankle, your foot, and the entire body in that race. I think you might have a problem. Especially for me, I suspect, because by no means necessary am I an experienced runner. These, however, different story. Like we said, quite flat, quite firm, quite steady in terms of the heel, midfoot, and front foot as well. And they're great all-rounders, because if you're an experienced runner, inexperienced, like myself, my form changed when I was doing my half marathon. I started fast, I was going midfoot, I'm pretty sure, and certain sections, maybe even a little bit of front foot. But at some point, when halfway through, when my body was getting tired, I returned to a heel strike. My pace and strides was a lot slower, so I was hitting the heel first as opposed to the midfoot, right? That allowed my body to not be suspect to injury, right? Because it's more forgiving in terms of where you step and how you manage that, right? And how you distribute the load. This is purely my own assumption. This is not backed by evidence, just purely by the design in itself. So I think that's a very strong benefit, a very strong positive of this shoe. Very forgiving if you're a beginner runner, in terms of the structure and the support that you get as well. And again, shin splints, great. And I think it's less likely to get an injury using this shoe as opposed to these beautiful boys, purely just based upon design and how forgiving they are. So yeah, I think that would be my review with the Nike Pumas 3. I promise you next time I'll be a lot happier when I manage to cook a decent mac and cheese and the missus does not pick me up. So yeah, peace.